So please give it up. Big round of applause for Genesis Mining.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here today. Beautiful Miami. I have only 5 minutes, but still I'll try to talk about as much as possible as I can about ASIC resistance in the past and some ideas for the future. ASIC resistance has been a big topic in the last 1 or 2 years, but it's definitely also been a topic in the past. When Bitcoin launched in 2009, in the white paper it says the proof of work mining algorithm is based on the idea one CPU, one vote. The idea being that everyone has equal voting power in the network. He didn't even think about ASICs back then, GPUs or ASICs, he didn't think about any of that back then, but still the idea was clear that mining power should be decentralized and everyone should have a piece of it. Thanks. Aha, there we go. All right. So it also continued like this. So when Litecoin launched in October 2011, they tried to make a mining algorithm which is maximally secure against attacks using custom hardware, quite clearly talking about ASIC resistance. Still an ASIC came out 3 years later. Same with Dash, launched 2013, first ASIC 2016. Similar with Monero, first launched 2014, first ASIC 2017. Ethereum, similar, also an ASIC came out 3 years later, but it's not quite efficient enough to push out all the GPUs from the market, so it might be a bit different. Still, similar story. So during this whole time, there was a big discussion always about ASIC resistance. Should we try to have coins GPU mined only? Are ASICs an enemy of the blockchain? I've compiled a couple of arguments here. They seem like the most vocal arguments out there. So I think usually the argument is between the home miners and the large-scale miners, representing the GPUs and the ASICs each. So the home miners say everyone has a GPU and should be able to participate in the network. Great idea. Then again, most miners do buy their GPUs just for mining. But still, fair argument. Another big point is that ASIC producers have monopolies. People are thinking about secret mining with ASICs that aren't released to the market. People are thinking about ASICs being produced but not being sold, but first just being mined privately, and that being the exact opposite of decentralization. Also a fair enough point, it's definitely true, we've seen it in the past. Then again, whenever we see a mining ecosystem maturing and more ASIC manufacturers joining the market, it does decentralize more, like we see with Bitcoin, where you have a higher and higher commoditization of Bitcoin mining hardware. GPUs can be repurposed or sold in comparison to ASICs, which just lose all their value after their lifetime is over. Also true, definitely. Then again, let's not forget that GPU producers are now producing, excuse me, mining specialized GPUs. So let's see how long that holds true. And on the large mining side, people mostly have the attitude of saying, hey, ASICs are inevitable anyway. They're just going to happen. We've seen it every single time. We're probably going to see it in the future too. So let's not try to fight them, but instead let's try to live with them and find a way to have a good ecosystem with ASICs. ASICs are easier to operate in the data center. So if you scale larger and larger, you don't want to be investing so much time on every single machine that you have. Then again, with good software tools and good maintenance procedures, that point definitely becomes smaller. We're able to run GPUs in very large scale, obviously. Also, GPU mining software, which is not talked about too often, it's quite centralized. Excuse me. So, for example, Claymore Miner is everywhere in Ethereum. If everyone has different types of GPUs, but everyone's running the same software on the GPUs, how decentralized really is that? Maybe there's something we can do about that. All right, let's see if that holds. Okay, so all these arguments are not directly contrary to each other. It's not really a back and forth argument. There's like different points being raised, which all have a point on their own, but it's hard to really reach a conclusion. Let's at least find some points where we can hopefully agree on and take it as a basis for going forward. So both with ASIC mining and with GPU mining, we have been seeing centralization of the mining market, at least short term. For example, Monero ASICs coming out and being used secretly. and leading to a huge centralization of the mining market for Monero. Or AMD GPUs, let's not forget AMD and NVIDIA are the only two producers of GPUs. AMD GPUs being used almost exclusively for Ethereum mining in 2017. Both a type of centralization. It's also important to understand that no matter what kind of technology and hardware you use for mining, large data centers are always going to outcompete home miners. There's just no way around it. Because of economies of scale, it's cheaper to build a large data center than to have a small operation. So mining will always centralize if you look at it at the data center level. And as we saw earlier in that little history I gave, ASICs are probably inevitable. There's a lot of work going nowadays into ASIC-resistant algorithms. Shout out to ProgPow and to RandomX, which are options which are currently being evaluated and being tested. Maybe this is the final chance to see how much that's actually possible. In the past, it's not been too successful. We should definitely try to, if we want to have if we see that ASICs are going to happen, and if it's going to happen sooner or later, we should try to have algorithms deployed on new proof of work coins that are simple enough so that the market for ASICs is as open as possible. We want the entry barrier to be small for many ASIC producers to be able to compete on the market and to not have this monopoly situation where only one or two companies manage to actually build an ASIC. The simpler it is, the algorithm and the ASIC, the faster it is and the more decentralized the economy will become quicker. So if you're going to take the jump to ASICs, a very complicated mining algorithm is going to be in the way of that. And obviously, and this applies also to GPUs, we should all be working together to make sure that we're using standardized protocols for mining and that we're using open source frameworks to making our developments. Regarding this point, I've actually got a quick announcement to make. We at Genesis Mining have been watching the GPU mining ecosystem mature or change over the years, and what you see nowadays, it's a bit of a mess actually. So we've got all these different closed source mining, all these closed source miners being released in the market, competing with each other. Each has their own dev fee and does closed source and isn't really compatible with each other. What we should try to do more is work together on frameworks like here, Rhina the Miner, which is aimed to be a computing platform, which is for mining all kinds of different GPU mining algorithms on the same type of hardware. This takes us back to products that we used to have like SG Miner, which supported a wide range of protocols all within the same software. And this is our attempt to bring this back to the community in a new, revamped, modern type of way. So please check it out. It's on GitHub. It's still in early development, but we're definitely getting there. And we're really hoping to manage to consolidate this mining market for everyone again. Thank you very much.
Big round of applause for Genesis Mining. Awesome.